What's up guys, welcome back to the ASAP Automotive channel, and today we're going to be showing you how to do a trapdoor mod the right way, so stay tuned. So some of you are probably wondering what the heck is a trapdoor mod, and the rest of you are probably here because you're trying to do the mod yourself. So a trapdoor mod is it's really anytime you're trying to get to like a fuel pump in a vehicle. Specifically today we're going to be dealing with the F body, more specifically the 4th gen F body, and a later one at that, and I'll explain a little bit why that makes a difference. But basically what we're going to be doing is the fuel tanks in these cars are tucked up in above the axle in the back, and if you got to change out the fuel pump or sending unit, it's really a kind of a pain to have to drop everything, drop the exhaust and all that. So a lot of people do what's called a trapdoor mod, where you get, well, the way we're doing it today is something like this. What's actually is what we're going to be using is this door here, and goes down and you can just latch it like so, and gives you nice easy access. You can see there where it turns, and there's no special key or anything, it's just a flat head because it's all going to be under carpet, and you'll see all that stuff in a little bit. But that's why a lot of people do it, including myself, because I've already had to be in here twice now with this sending unit, and I'm tired of dropping the thing. So, and you guys know, or have been watching the channel, you know that this is my wife's Firehawk here, one I got her just a little bit over a year ago. And what brought me here is, originally, as you guys seen in an earlier video, we did some fuel system upgrades to it. We did the 255 Racetronics pump and the hot wire kit to it. Well, that pump did great, but the problem is I got bit by the ever so common fuel pressure regulator issue in the sending unit in these, and it actually did it to us in the middle of Carolina drag cruise. Just about a couple of months ago. We were actually in the middle of it, and it sucks because she was doing really good, was going for consistency, and had good possibility of maybe getting a trophy. But anyways, in the middle of it, the car just died. And what it was is the fuel pressure regulator took a dump, so it was just dumping all the fuel pressure off into the tank. So obviously the car wouldn't run. So gets on the car trailer, it sits out back of the shop for probably about a month and a half, because we've been so absolutely busy. As you can see how much of a mess the shop is. We're just literally non-stop here right now. Promise the shop's normally cleaner than this. It's just been crazy. Anyways, so at this point, I'm like, you know what? That 255 does great for now, and it'll definitely do great for some bolt-on mods, but we start getting to the supercharger territory and stuff for this car and end up with some of the numbers, you know, around 600-700 horsepower that we want to end up with. We're going to be pushing our luck. Because you know what? I got all that stuff from the WS6 store. Mike and his team there are great guys. Their customer service is awesome. Been dealing with them for, you know, pretty much a lot of the stuff on the car, and plan on doing a fair bit more with them. I looked into their kits, and I found that they actually have now a 340 liter per hour pump that's already in the sending unit. Everything does away with the fuel pressure regulator in the sending unit. So there's a whole nother kit for that. That's actually another video that's coming up here soon. We're actually working on some stuff with them to improve that kit and make it even better for you guys. We've actually got it all back together, got the car running, but today we're focusing on the trapdoor mod and getting access to that sending unit so you don't have to drop the tank every time, and doing it the proper way, not the hack way. And one of the many reasons I wanted to do this video is I had a heck of a time finding any decent video out there on this. A good, thorough, proper way. Now, there's plenty of ways to hack this in there, but being that you're cutting an opening on something that covers a fuel tank and keeps, you know, fire from coming into the car and all that, kind of something you really want to spend a little bit of extra time and maybe a few extra bucks on. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get this thing flipped around so we can get a better view and show you guys how to do this. Okay, so as I talked about before, we're doing the trapdoor mod. This is a Tanks Incorporated Alpha Delta -66 part number. 66 means it's 6 inches by 6 inches, and there's different sizes they offer out there, like 8x8, 6x14. 6x14 will probably work great in a earlier 4th gen and the 3rd gen F bodies, and I'll explain that in a little bit as to why. There's a lot of different doors you can get out there and stuff. I did some research, and this is the best one I found. I like the quality of it, and I like that it's stainless. Not only that, it has a full recess all the way around to where the door can actually rest on, and it seals it off a lot better. Granted, you still have a little bit of airflow through there, but for the most part, it's much better sealing than a lot of other ones I've seen. This company seems to make some great products. No, not sponsored by them. No, I'm not sponsored by Summit, where I bought it from for like 50 bucks or so. Well worth the money in my opinion to do it professionally, and it's sealed off and you don't have to worry about it. But I would love to be sponsored by Summit if you guys are watching. That being said, like I said, there's different sizes. This is the best one I've found to fit it. There's different stuff out there. This is just the best one I found. I think it's going to work for this application. Now, how do we get this thing in here? How do we get started? So, as with anything, when you're working with stuff, especially around electrical, especially around a fuel system, you want to make sure you disconnect your negative battery cable. So pop your hood, go out there and disconnect your negative battery cable. That's easy enough. I'm not going to take the time to show you guys that. Now, that being said, the first thing you're going to do is, mind this, I have this one sitting down there. You're going to take off this panel. It doesn't matter which side you take off first, but this one's easier. You've got the lock and unlock positions. All it really takes is a nice wide flat blade, which somebody has done a number on these before with something else besides that, and just turn them all to the unlock position. And then you're going to pop this up, but you need to be careful because you got two, well, in my case, I've got two radio connections or speaker connections. You might just have one, but either way, you want to go ahead and disconnect both of those and put that off to the side. As you can see how those just turn and lock into, in place and hold the panel in there because they fit in these slots here. So we're going to set this off to the side. Now what we're going to do is go to the other side. You're going to want to, some kind of trim panel tool tends to help to get in here and pop these loose. You want to get in behind and get underneath the panel like so and pop it up, because you've got these pins like this right here. Same thing, you're going to have either one or two speaker connections over here. Now don't fret if you get one of these pop out of this channel and stay in there. Just take your panel removal tool and just pop in there like so. And then you see how it's got the extra slot on it on the head there. You can just slide that right in like and you're good to go. Now you're going to do the same thing. Take this one, put it out of the way. Now the next thing I'm going to have here is you're going to need to get this carpet up. So you're going to, here on either side, you've got releases here to, you got a lever on both sides. Might take two people to do it, or you can get inside the car and reach on both sides and fold the back seat down. You see how it latches on these right here. So that comes out like so, and then you've got, should have something along the lines, now depending on how your car's optioned out, it might not have them, but most of them do, as far as I know, is a T40 Torx screw. You just undo those, and then these come off. Take those out like so. And what we're going to do is the carpet's going to be underneath here a little bit, so you're going to want to work it out around on both sides and then lay your carpet forward. Okay, so once you pull the carpet back, you'll have something like this. Obviously not nice and cut out for you already like this, but I've already done this the other day. So what you should end up with, you'll see the opening here, and this is a good time to explain the difference between the 98 and 02, 98 to 02 and the earlier 4th gen and 3rd gen. This one has the plastic tank, as you can see, and it has the smaller sending unit or the smaller set of lines. You have the lines coming in, you can disconnect, unplug your connectors and lock ring, and it's nice and out of here. The ones with the steel tank have the, that's the 98, I'm sorry, yeah, the 99 and up have this plastic tank. The 98 to 93 4th gens and on back into 3rd gens so far have these long metal lines going up, and that's when you end up with, like, a much longer opening to get that out, because those lines come out with the sending unit. So that's where a good like 6 by 14 inch door or something like that will probably come in handy. I don't know yet because I don't have that set up, but you get the general idea here. So when cutting this out, you want to be absolutely careful, because you see what's right underneath here. You don't really want to just go hacking away and all that. So to give you guys some reference points here, really probably the easiest way for you to do it is if you've got this door, which I've found, like I said, it fits perfect, and just line it up. I mean, it lines up. You guys see how nice it lines up right here and right here, doesn't overhang, and you can find it a good spot here to where it doesn't really overhang much as well. And what you can do is open that door once you get it set about where you want it, you can go ahead and trace out in here with, you know, if you got a lighter color car, then, you know, a black Sharpie. In this case, obviously the car is black, so we went with a gray Sharpie so we can see what we're actually marking. And then I'll give you a good idea, and then you can cut out there. Remember, it's a lot easier to take off metal than it is to try to add it back. And you don't have a lot of room, margin for error here, because you get out too far and you won't be able to screw it down. So there's a lot of, well, there's a lot of people out there, but there's not many videos out there to begin with for this. And one of the reasons I, like I said, wanted to do this video is a couple videos out there, it's kind of like, oh hey, we cut it open, not really give you any measurements, and I just slapped the piece back in there and taped around it, all right, good to go. Well, kind of defeats the purpose to me, is you want continual easy access. So if we're in the middle of a racing event or something or whatever, we need to get in there to the pump or whatever, we got to it. We don't have to cut all that back open and plaster it again. Why not spend the extra 50, 60 bucks on a proper door and some screws and a little bit of sealant and do it once and do it right? I mean, this is what, you know, keeps you safe and keeps it sealed off for you as well. So what I've ended up here with is you end up with about, right about 6 3/8 width-wise, and then right about 6 1/2 lengthwise here. And let's see what we ended up with from the top of the ridge here. We're probably, what, 5/8. Over here, we're got a little bit more meat there, almost like 7/8. Now, you can do the door however you want. I did it this way to me because, as you can see with everything here, this takes up some real estate. You got a nice opening over here. You try to do it over here, it's going to hit against your lines and kind of make it a pain to get it open and all. And if you had it down here, obviously it hit the connector, and there it's kind of facing you. So this just seemed like the most logical way for me to have it out of the way. Now, when you go to cut this, there's some different stuff out there. I've seen one guy using an air nibbler and stuff, and that's cool. I definitely have a shop vac in here with you because you're going to make some metal shavings. But what you can do is, like I said, the one easy way you can do it is set your door down. Once you know about, you can line it up side by side. It's one of the reasons I like this door. It lines up perfect. And go in with, like, in my case, it's a black car. You want to do a silver Sharpie, or if you got a lighter color car, you'll do something, you know, in a, like maybe a black Sharpie or something, and that'll give you a good ballpark. One tip, whenever you're cutting this out, I would start up here. Start on the top side, come down the passenger side, and then work your way back down the driver's side. You can see why you don't want to start out down here. You've got harnesses pushed up right against here. So what I would do, and if you're going to use like a Ziz wheel, that's what I did to cut this very low and slow, just right before it started slinging sparks. I had a die grinder with a cutting wheel on it, and I'll show you here in a second, and just kind of marked down through and worked my way back and forth until it started coming through. Just take your time and be patient. You don't want to drop down and nick into anything here, especially in a fuel system and throwing sparks. So once you do, you cut the top, cut the side, and then come over here and start pulling this up a bit. And what you want to do is find something like, I guess best example would be like you go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get some door shims, like the packet of shims for shimming up like an interior door or exterior door, and try to shove one or put one underneath here to separate that harness from there, because the last thing you want to do is run down with your Ziz wheel and cut into your harness, and you get a really bad day. That way, if you do accidentally get through a little bit, you're just cutting into the wood and you start seeing that, you know, you've gone through. This one's a little bit more fun to cut because you've got the recess there, but it's not terrible. Like I said, keep you a shop, have you a shop vac handy to where you can go in here, because it is going to make a mess no matter which way you do it. In my case here, like I said, I had some of this body filler stuff, seam sealer, that they had glooped up here pretty good, so I took that down to where it'll sit nice and flush. And then, like I said, the measurements I gave you guys a little bit ago, it sits in there all nice and easy. So, as promised, this is the die grinder I use. Any old die grinder will work. A good little 3-inch thin cutoff wheel. I use these 60 grits. I buy them in a 10-pack for a few bucks at Harbor Freight. Keep plenty of them here. We use them all the time at the shop. And like I said, just keep it low and slow, and you'll be able to cut on through like that. And like I said, Always easier to take off metal than add. That'll give you some rough dimensions. I'd recommend, especially if you're first time doing anything like this, mark on the inside. That gives you a margin of error. Then you'll need to come back and cut it out enough to where that'll sit down in. So now that we've got that cut out and everything, we know we're good there. We can go ahead and start mounting our new door on. What we're gonna do is we'll mount it down. I've went and got some stainless self-tapper screws, just some number 10 by 1/2 inch screws here. They're plenty long to bite through here, or to go through here and bite into this. And as you can see, we definitely don't want anything too long. There's some places out here we got a little bit more room, but these things are plenty short. They'll leave us, plenty of room without hitting anything or going into the tank. Now, you can just screw it on down if you want, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and really kind of help seal this off. We use this stuff quite a bit here. I like it because you can use it around oils and fuels and stuff like that, and it's fine. Is the right stuff. 1 minute gasket. We buy it in the bigger tube, the 33694, because we use it so much. You can get a smaller tube of it. You can get it in the little aerosol cans. Those are cool. But just make sure you keep the tip cleaned out. You don't want a dirty tip because it'll get hard, and then you got a hard problem trying to force any of your stuff out at the tip. So that being said, what you want to do is go ahead and flip it on over and run you a nice fat bead, or a good size, decent bead around here. It'll splooge out pretty good. I mean, you don't want to get too crazy with it. And now what you want to is you want to build up across here, because obviously you have a nice recess, and that'll keep you nice and full. So let's go ahead and splooge some of this stuff on there. What you're going to end up with is a nice uniform-ish bead like that, and then come across here and just go ahead and build it up so it'll seal off nice there for you. Overbuild it a little bit so it'll kind of settle in. And this stuff here, like I said, you don't want a dirty tip clogging up. That'll cause all kind of issues. Just splooge a little bit out so you got something to pull on and get past the crusties, and that way it doesn't harden all up in the main tip, and you can actually reuse it, because it sucks once that stuff's hardened. You got to pull it off and try to clean it out. Anyways, so let's go ahead and flip this bad boy over, and we'll go ahead and set her down in here nice like. Now we can go ahead and go back and start running our screws in. Once again, you want to take your time doing this. Pay attention to what you're going down to and make sure you don't end up puncturing into the tank. Like I said, once again, that's why I went with such a short screw, and these things are small enough diameter they should fit pretty good right in through there. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cordless drill, and we'll go ahead and work on running those in. Okay. Now you're going to want to hold this in place, because it will try to walk on you a little bit where you're starting the first couple of them. Just take it easy, let it do its job. And just like, now we'll go around and do the rest of them. Rag, wipe up a little bit of excess like that, and that's what you end up with. A nice, clean, professional look. Like I said, between the stainless cover and then the stainless screws, you don't have to worry about any rusting, and all it takes is a simple flathead screwdriver to open, air, and access. Much easier than dropping the exhaust, dropping the back axle down and all that, just to get to that fuel sending unit. So, alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, our goal here was to put together as much of a comprehensive video on doing this and as thorough as possible. Because like I said, it's been really hard to find anything out there, so we wanted to be the ones to have it out there for you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. We'd love to answer any questions or take any feedback, good or bad, on it. So like I said, we'll put the link to the part and everything down here below for you and all that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, until next time, stock is not an option.